Hello everyone, Domnaut here. Today Enlisted released some big news about the future progression system, and you'll see it on their page. It's levels in the renewed Enlisted. And this is the new progression system for the weapons and vehicles, soldiers and all that. There's an example screen here, as you can see. And we are going to look a bit more into that a bit later. Because first of all, we need to read up on actually what the matchmaking and so forth that they are talking about and the different progression system, because that is very important. So we're actually going to move out to an older post that they added before, and this is rating based matchmaking. In the new environment of combining campaigns and armies, matchmaking will learn to divide World War II weapons into several stages of development. Depending on the equipment of your soldiers, they will be assigned a conditional rating. And in the first stage of matchmaking, where the engine is selecting participants for battle, it will try to assemble a session of participants close to each other in the terms of rating. So what that means is, of course, it will first of all look like how many tier 2 people are looking, how many tier 4 people are looking, and so forth. And if it happen to be a lot of that people looking in the same tier, you will be matched together. But it also says that if there are not enough people, you will be paired up with anyone. So this is kind of the key thing here, that they will try to matchmake regarding a rating, but if it's not possible, you will be thrown into together with whoever. Another thing I want to bring up here is the historical accuracy. So they're going to keep Russia fighting in Moscow, Berlin, Stalingrad and so forth. So we won't be seeing Japan facing Russia in the Pacifics and so forth. So they will maintain that. And that is, of course, something important if they want to keep the historical accuracy. Yes, now, when we gotten this through, we're going to move over and look at the actual future tech tree and see what we can get out of that one. So now I am in the actual document for the tech tree. I will put a link in the description also to this one, but it's also available on the Enlisted webpage. But yeah, if we compare quickly from the beginning, my first look was, I'm like, yeah, this looks pretty good. That was my first impression. I was looking at some on the vehicles and weapons, and it felt like a pretty good match, like in the tier 1, these two columns, tier 2, tier 3, tier 4, tier 5, and so forth. And overall, I'm not going to go into details. There are some things that, I wouldn't compare directly to each other, but I think it will be okay overall. My main concern that I've been looking at is actually Italy and Japan might be in a bit interesting situation. Actually not Italy like that, because they are fighting the British and they have their own campaign. So that one should actually be okay. But look at Japan. This is the thing, is Japan faces off towards the US. And overall, the matchmaking is as it is. When you're playing in the Pacific at the moment, but the problem is now they rank the Type A rifle as a rank 6, the Otsu rifle as a rank 7. So you would, for example, if you would be running some of these weapons as Japanese, you would be considered a tier 7 in the matchmaking. This is me guessing, but of course then you'll see you will be facing off against all the stuff the US has at this level. And as Japan doesn't have vehicles to match this might change though. Maybe they're going to be releasing a bunch of stuff, so this might not be an issue at all. But this is like something I reacted on, because imagine yourself, you're coming there in your Rise or something, and you get to fight, well, some pretty heavy stuff over here. You can even have the P38J and so forth. So I don't know how the balance will be there, but hopefully there will be some more releases. Actually, the P38 is a rank 8, but yeah. You still can see the little lack of the Japanese equipment here, but I hope they're going to fill that in. And that is my main first concern. Otherwise, when I look at the things, my first thought is like, okay, what if like veteran players, they only equip their stuff with rating 1 stuff, so they can play against the newbies of the game. I hope there's going to be a system to prevent this, so we won't have like full teams or full squads of people farming the new players. We already see this in other games that Gaijin has released, and I really hope they're gonna try to avoid that kind of situation, that new players should overall be matched against other new players. Otherwise, we're going to have these farming teams that are going to be, yeah, wrecking havoc with everything. This is just the first video of this. I'm going to probably dig into this a bit more, so we're not going to go in too much about details. But my first concern was when I saw the whole thing was that, yeah, Japan, but I'm sure they have a plan for that maybe Japan is getting a bunch of other stuff. We can also have a look at the item things here, also in the tier based medkits, basic shovel, rank 2, explosive pack, rank 3. It puts me directly, I can tell you, in tier 3 because I have like explosive pack on all my soldiers. Actually tier 5 because I also use mines on all my guys and backpack. Yeah, so at least I'm never probably going to be below these because I always have these things on my guys. So good thing, I hope. And then if you look at the squads, my initial thoughts here was, yeah, it looks pretty balanced and I don't see a real problem with that overall, not at least yet. But maybe you guys have some more input on this, but my first feeling of this is going to be really good for the game. Some balance issues we might run into when we look at these direct, well, this list from the beginning, but I think overall this is going to be good for the game because we go away from these campaigns and having to level everything over and over, and we get the whole player base spread out on different campaigns. So hopefully with all this we will end up with a situation where we actually get to play against other people instead of playing against bots or being on a team with only bots. That happens quite often nowadays. But yeah, this is my initial thought, is this is good stuff. This is really good stuff, and I'm really looking forward to getting more information about this and the balancing, especially which vehicle is going to go where and how are we going to avoid that some veteran players using baby gear just to be able to farm new players and so forth. So that a couple of my concerns, but otherwise I think this is a big step in the right direction for the game. So hopefully you agree with me. Otherwise, put some comments down in the video and we'll talk more about this, because I am going to spend a bit more today and dig into the details, and maybe it'll be another video at the end of the week when I've had some more time to dig into it also. Well, thanks for watching and see you around.